How accurate are link detecting software such as Liquidator? It says one site had
Mhm.
40% spammy links, but it's not used any PBNs.
I'm not familiar with Linquidator, but that is a sick name.
Well, first
I
of
like it.
all, PBNs aren't
Catchy.
spammy links unless they're bad PBNs, cheap, low
Yeah.
quality PBNs.
And even then, sometimes they work so well.
Liquidator. Is this some kind of like free tool? I'm looking at it right now. I guess I'll pull it up on the screen for people to
So,
see.
just at a glance, right? They're saying they're going to analyze your link profile and remove your spammy links. I'm
It looks
guessing
like a
they do
cheap.
this with
It looks like
software.
cheap Ahrefs.
Um, Me and Chris, like we're big on doing things
Now this
manually.
is only for looking at unnatural links. Unnatural. I don't really know how they define that, but
And so like the push, I guess, is to get them and then throw them into disavow. It's not something I would ever use. If you've used it, get into SEO Roundtable maybe and give us a little synopsis of what you think about it, a little review alone. But overall, it's not something that I would ever use. We use Ahrefs primarily to go through our backlink profiles. Um, and every once in a while I use SEMrush and Majestic as well, but mainly Ahrefs to manually comb backlinks. Or if you've got something in Google Analytics, you can look a decent amount through there as well. Speaking of which, yeah, well, we'll talk about that later.
yeah. So you, we do a lot of work in link building and SEO, and I've never once felt the need to use something like this. I'm not saying that the product isn't any good. I can't really tell you anything about the product because I've never used it. But like Nick was saying, we're pretty much just on the normal stuff. Ahrefs is the
Now,
bread and butter. What's up?
if this is a company saying that they've got manual teams looking through your stuff and maybe you don't really know how to do it, it could be a pretty interesting product. And even as a software product, maybe they're onto
I'm pretty sure
something.
it's
But
software.
I don't trust. You know,
But see, like, look at
Moz, for
this, like
example, it
penalty.
has
It's
a
like
a
telling you like
spam
penalty
quality.
risk, like the penalty
Yeah.
risk
See,
of this link.
and
Like,
it's
like what? Um,
it's all it's.
it's. I
I
feel like
don't
it's
I don't want
just
to say anything too bad because I don't know whose company it is, but
yeah.
it's not something I would use. Like I don't use Moz spam score,
And they're a
and
much
when
bigger
somebody
or
brings
more
it up to
well-known
me,
company.
yeah, when somebody brings it up to me, I'm gonna dismiss it because it's not an indicator of where your site sits. Quite
Yeah, and
honestly.
just because, let's say, because we don't look at stuff like spam score because there's just so much more that goes into it than these little scores. And
I mean, sometimes I do semi-spammy stuff on purpose, quite honestly,
but let's say, even doing what we normally do, we're looking at Ahrefs and we notice our site got a couple really what looked like super toxic links. Um, we most likely wouldn't do anything about it. It's
No, not
because
not
the rest of the links that we're building are fine, and it's just not something in most cases that you need to worry about. And usually rather than your site kind of naturally getting some crappy links that are look real toxic, the bigger threat in link building is the SEO, doing things incorrectly over a long period of time, right? Building unnatural anchors over a long period of time, just building way too many links to an inner page and just hammering, keyword anchors or, just lack of diversity, just basically not following best practices, right?
or building like a link profile, like a small link profile, right? And then all of a sudden being like, oh my God, I see this one or two spammy links out of 40 referring domains that I built over the last few months. What do I do? Are they going to inhibit me from moving up in the SERPs? And then, before you know it, they're freaking out and throwing a disavow with, things that are potentially actually going to harm them more than just ignoring the issue up front and continue on with a solid link building campaign and content campaign.
But Nick and I have a pretty, this is something, we get asked these type of questions about like spam scores and that kind of thing somewhat often. And we have a pretty like hard stance on it. I guess you could even call us extremists in a sense, because we don't really, we don't have any like leeway on how we feel about this. It's just that we feel extremely large majority of people are, it's basically like a culture like built on fear, right? Oh, these spammy links, they're gonna get me. My rankings are gonna tank, and they basically just people have ingested all this information about penalties and links, and I think they're just kind of like overcompensating way too much for it. Whereas if you're just following best practices, it doesn't really matter if you get spammy links, unless you are building toxic links and you're building them for quite some time and you don't really have a good number of non-toxic links, right?
Right. Best practice though, my advice to you, practice manually combing your backlinks in analytics and Ahrefs before using software to decide how you feel about something. And then compare your link profile to other competitor link profiles as well. The more you kind of explore what a quote natural link profile looks like, you'll realize there is no set in stone kind of situation.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
And speaking of Ahrefs, they just announced. Yeah, there you go.
Guess I'll just pull that up.
Well,
it's okay. I pulled up some links on it. It doesn't give away anything. I mean, anyone can pull up our site on Ahrefs anyway. All right, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, so maybe not the biggest news, but it's kind of cool. So it says major keyword database overhaul, possible increase in search traffic estimations. We recently added millions of new keywords to our database and improved our search volume estimates. If you notice increases in search traffic estimations, it's probably because of this. This is something that we talked about for a while, that that a lot of the times the Ahrefs traffic estimate that it says the site's pulling in is often a lot lower than what your actual traffic is when you look at analytics. And I guess for those of you who aren't really aware of this fact, analytics is you're actually looking at something that's plugged in directly into your site and actually knows what your traffic is. Ahrefs is just basing it off of what you're ranking for and what they expect your traffic would be based on the percentage, the click-through rate for basically where you're landing for those keywords on the search, right? Yeah, so we always kind of thought it was a little bit low, and it's kind of cool that they're adding more stuff in here. So yeah,
for sure.
You're not a genius SEO if your traffic bumps up in the right now or a couple of days. It's probably just because of the update. But hey, maybe you can sell out to your client, right?
Yeah, Ahrefs is expensive, but I like seeing this because it means they're continually working on the product and expanding with it. And over the years that I've been in SEO, it's been the main tool that I'm pulling out every day and using every day.
For sure. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description below for links to our blog for more info on this topic, along with a bunch of other cool stuff like case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Thanks and happy ranking.